All right, so this is video number 2. The first video, I basically rambled on a lot of things, and I wanted to get started. I couldn't even exactly say what the point I was trying to get across was, other than I want to get started. I put a shirt on today. I don't know if I had a shirt on in the other one. It's very warm. Anyways, I now have like a next step of getting started. So my next step of getting started is going to be focusing on, it's a variety of things that I'm going to be focusing on, but the goal is to increase / enhance, mainly enhance my sleep quality. Okay? Because I was kind of thinking, and there are a bunch of different things that I can do separately, and they would be pretty interesting, but it's like doing all of those things, if I did one thing for 30 days, I'm not really going to want to do anything else during that 30-day period, or whatever the time frame would be, because I wouldn't, if the idea is to figure out what the effect of doing something is, I don't necessarily want to limit myself to just doing one thing. I'm only here for a short period of time, for a limited period of time. And I want to try to do, I want to try to get as much done as fast as I can. I'm not so much out here to advocate for like a specific thing, like other than like I'm trying to be better, and like I'm trying to do things better. Okay, so anyways, deep sleep. That's kind of one of that's the goal here. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to come into this. Now, I use AI quite a bit as like a research tool now, and I use it a little differently than maybe some people do. I don't even know how anyone uses it actually, so I don't know. I use it the way that it seems to be beneficial to me. And now, this is just the start of this, and it's going to be evolving because I think I'm going to be learning, I know I'm going to be learning a lot throughout the whole process. So the initial thing that I'm going to be doing here, because I like to do like sound sessions. I think that cymatics are interesting, and I think that the effects that they have on physical, like the effects of sound waves on physical objects is pretty interesting, and I feel like it's got to have some sort of an effect on like the body, and the way that how complex the body is. It just seems like there's a possibility that you could influence like physiological processes through sound, and I feel like that's been proven in multiple levels. So anyways, one of the things that I like to do is to have sound sessions, and basically what a sound session is I attempt to surround it's like a sound bath. I don't even know, I'm just like, I do a lot of like official stuff in an unofficial way. I'm trying to get better at it and more organized, and that's part of this. So anyways, continuing on in the goal for increased sleep quality, I'm just going to kind of run through things that I was looking into and some of my research today from AI. This is actually going to be like day 1 of an intentful start of implementing these practices or tools, or whatever you could say. So I'm just going to kind of read through some of the stuff and like just go through it. So I feel like I'm going to sneeze. I sneezed and farted at the same time. Not going to lie. Okay. So anyways, sauna and ice bath. Those are two things that I'm going to continue to utilize. It's going to be, I would like to do, sauna is going to be at least once a day, and on the weekends twice a day. Man, I sneezed and my nasal is, I could use like a clearing of this. So I'm going to try to, we'll get into that later. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to try to push through this. Now I feel congested here. Anyways, another thing is like red lights. I do have a red light belt that I use here. And I kind of just like place that thing, you know, around my waist, on like my shoulders. If my shoulders are sore, around my head, you know, I kind of just intentionally place it wherever I want to try to have some effect or benefit from that. Okay, so those are a few like tools: sauna, ice bath, red light belt. You know, we're going to get into other things. There's a lot of stuff here as well. So in addition to that, I figured, you know, what would be like a really good way for ensuring that like my cells and everything are going to be like susceptible or malleable to the sound waves. And so, you know, drinking plenty of water. And I like to ensure the quality of my water is, you know, I guess as good as I can make it without being crazy about it. So I've got well water, and then I run that through a reverse osmosis filter. But I'm kind of thinking that implementing distilled water timed properly, you know, include that in specific time frames might be beneficial, you know, like before a sauna or after a sauna or not around the sauna. I want to look into that a little more. In addition to that, you know, consuming your electrolytes, I'm going to need, oh, excuse me, my bad. I'm going to need to look into that a little more. Coconut water, I already pretty big fan of coconut water. I've got some of that in a refrigerator, and I already know potassium and magnesium are super important. So I think that digging into diet items, food items that are going to be in line with that are going to be pretty good to shoot for. So then we've got adaptogenic herbs. So ashwagandha, rhodiola, and ginseng. I used to do ashwagandha and rhodiola. I've since then stopped. It's been a while, so I might check those out. But I'm gonna dig in to see if there's like others. If I'm gonna be taking supplements, I might find different ones that I'll take. But I'm gonna check into that. Omega-rich or omega-3 rich foods, because this was kind of like the blood-brain barrier. I was like, well, if I'm able to use the sound to manipulate the cells, you know, if those are kind of traveling, allowing the permeability or just allowing things to flow through the system, I think is going to be pretty important. So that's kind of where I think the omega-3s came in. Anyways, we've got a couple other supplements here: NAC, curcumin, proteolytic enzymes. That's brand new. I'm going to need to dig into that. And I know what glucosamine is. So glycosaminoglycans. Okay. Glucosamine is a type of whatever that is. GAGs, they're called. So I'm going to be checking into that. So that's kind of like the tools that I'm going to be using. And then water. I'm going to be focusing on my water for sure. I'm a huge sparkling water. Like I make it in the Soda Stream. Just use my water that I make, or that I guess I make here, and then I put that in the SodaStream. Huge fan of that. I think that there's something to it. I think that there's something in my body that responds very well to that. Speaking of, I'm kind of thirsty right now. Okay, so next were like a few practices that I want to implement, and one of them, here we go. Ancient practices for resonance. We've got Tibetan toning, so Tibetan toning exercises. That's pretty interesting. I'm going to be digging into that a little more. Qigong. I think I say that right. I'm going to be checking into that more, and Kundalini yoga. So I'm familiar with Qigong and Kundalini yoga, but I'm unfamiliar with Tibetan toning. So that's something that I want to check into. Another part of this is right now I work out at the gym, kind of for like I'm not a bodybuilder, but like a bodybuilder mentality, I guess, like the physique wise. And I've been going to the gym for a long time, and it's always taught me a lot of life lessons. And now I'm finally like, because before it was like, well, I didn't really care too much, because it's not like I'm not gonna be a bodybuilder and do shows and stuff like that. And it's like, well, I don't necessarily feel like I need to go to crazy levels to like look good for someone else. It was always like to look good for myself and feel good about myself. But now it's more so, wow, okay, I now am a little more familiar with how to affect my body composition by doing specific things. So now potentially being able to implement some of these aspects to like my gym routine, I think is going to be pretty important. And then taking that one step further is, what if I transition, at least maybe partially, into like Qigong? I've been really interested in focusing on Qigong, and I felt like that would be very good for me to transition to. So that's another aspect of this working. We're quite a ways in here, but I am going to continue talking because the glymphatic system and sleep. Okay, so the glymphatic system, here we go. I'm just going to read some of my notes here. The glymphatic system is a recently discovered waste removal process in the brain that's most active during sleep. Deep sleep, sorry. It helps clear out toxins such as beta amyloid plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease by using cerebral spinal fluid to flush out the brain. Now that is very interesting to me. I'm gonna get to another interesting part later on. So anyways, in the goal of increasing my sleep quality, figuring out how to use how to take advantage the best of my ability, the glymphatic system, I think that that's going to be pretty important. Now, the big thing is deep sleep is one of the big things that improves this. So I am going to need to increase the deep sleep to help this glymphatic system. And it's like once I'm able to sleep better, that system's going to be able to work better. And when that system's able to work better, I'm going to be able to sleep even better, I think. So that's fantastic. Now, this glymphatic flow is most active during slow wave sleep. And I'm not exactly familiar if that's regular sleep, deep sleep, or like REM. I don't think it's REM. I'm going to say it's deep sleep. but this says which typically occurs in the first third of the night. I need to figure out how to measure that. Okay. And again, we're talking about cerebral spinal fluid. You know, it's a liquid. So we already know the effects that sound has on like water molecules. This is in your spine. If you can potentially enhance the way that can work, that would be important, I would imagine. It'd be critical. It would be awesome. So there's a bunch of stuff here. Darkness, silence, a cool room. I'm going to be getting into some of that stuff. But check this out. So there is also in the increasing deep sleep and I believe in enhancing the glymphatic system is vagus nerve stimulation. So I was watching this video. It was this doctor who was kind of talking about how to detox the brain. And I'm a big fan of, or like I'm into the sounds of stuff and mantras. Om, you know, I probably don't do it exactly correctly, but I believe that there is power behind the sound frequencies that we make with our mouths. I feel like there's power behind words. I'm not exactly sure how all of it works, but I feel like that's the case. So as the guy in the video was talking about stimulating the vagus nerve, he didn't seem to necessarily be in any of like this aspect of the stuff, but he said humming. He's like, humming can stimulate the vagus nerve. And I was like, ooh, humming. Hum, you know, those are very similar. So I kind of dug into that a little bit. And so here we go. We're continuing on. The vagus nerve is a complex nerve that regulates various bodily functions, including heart rate, breathing, digestion, and the glymphatic system. Stimulates the glymphatic system to clear waste from the brain. And that's vagus nerve stimulation. So humming, singing, or vibration therapy can stimulate the vagus nerve. It can increase the glymphatic flow, and it can reduce stress and anxiety, which I think is you know, like a side effect from these other two things, possibly. But it's okay, you know. So stimulating the vagus nerve, activate the nerve's branches in the throat and neck, promoting relaxation and parasympathetic dominance. Man, so that's very interesting. So in addition to sound-based stimulation, you can try other methods to activate the vagus nerve. So cold shower or using cold compresses on your neck to stimulate, neck and throat to stimulate the nerve. What about an ice bath, man? What about a sauna and an ice bath? You know, doing a sauna and then to the ice bath. That's got to be stimulating this vagus nerve. Massage, so massage your neck, throat. I do have like a little shiatsu massager. I try to put that, you know, it's got like you can grip on it and pull on it. I try to use that. It does feel really, really good. Yoga and breath work, Wim Hof. I try to do the Wim Hof at least once a day. Gargling and toning. Gargle water, tone specific sounds. So that's interesting. All right, now I'm continuing on. It's pretty long stuff, but I'm kind of continuing on with what my notes have got here. So other options to potentially stimulate the vagus nerve, we've got binaural beats, Tibetan singing bowls, and vocal toning. I want to practice vocal toning and get like a graph to visualize the tones that I'm making, the sounds that I'm making with my mouth, or, you know, with my body. I want to see what those frequencies are and then attempt to just get better at making those frequencies. So On to that, binaural beats for vagus nerve. We've got alpha waves, theta waves, delta waves, and then specific binaural beat frequencies for the vagus nerve, as indicated here, is 10 hertz, and that's stimulating the vagus nerve's parasympathetic branch. 6.3 hertz is said to target the vagus nerve's myelinated fibers, promoting relaxation and reducing stress. And then 4.5 hertz may stimulate the vagus nerve's unmyelinated fibers, enhancing mood and cognitive function. So, we've got for the vocal toning, we've got humming, Tibetan overtone singing, vocal resonance, the Aum mantra, Aum, me. I don't know. There's A, H, and then O-M, and then capital E, lowercase e. Okay, so that's basically... sorry. There are a few more. There are just a couple more. Lip trills. I don't know what those are. It says start by making a burr sound with your lips, then transition to an or ah sound. Boom, boom, interesting. Tongue trills. Place the tip of your tongue behind your upper teeth and then quickly move it back and forth to create a trilling sound. Upper teeth. I'm gonna need to practice that one. I can't figure that out. Resonance tuning. Use a tuning fork or other resonant instrument to help you find optimal vocal frequency. Okay, I think that's. Maybe I should use tuning forks instead of an app. I think I want to get some tuning forks. All right. Aside from that, that's basically the rundown. We're probably sitting at a pretty long video here, and that's all right. This is what I'm going to focus on. And then the next video, I'm not exactly sure, but I'm going to dig into the plan, I guess, of like my routine, what I'm doing every day, and stuff like that. And then elaborate and expand on some of these things that I just talked about here. Because to be honest, I mean, I kind of am. It's a learning process, and I just want to share my learning experience with everyone else, and hopefully something. If it doesn't help me, hopefully it helps you, but hopefully it helps everyone. Seems like, you know, there's always a little something to get from pretty much anything. So anyways, I got to eat some dinner, and then I've got a sauna and fill the ice bath up, an ice bath. So, there we go. There we are. Let's go.